Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Backstage with Angelo. You know that these days I am very, very happy because I'm bringing beauty queens. I'm talking to them, and it's for me, it's a dream come true. And of course, I know that for you as well. Remember, if you want to see more of the content, just click the subscribe button and hit the bell so you can get the notifications when new videos are out there for you to enjoy. And of course, today I have someone from the States. She's a very beautiful person, and the name, I'm going to tell you the name later, but just for you guys to know, because she has the same name as my little niece who lives in the States too. And I'm like, okay, the same name, that's so wonderful. She's a curvy model, and she's been doing pageants since she was 16 years old. That's very, very young. She is an advocate for, of course, climate change positively. And she was Miss Wisconsin and Miss Earth USA 2020. I'm talking about Emma Loney. Hi, Emma.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited that we can finally connect.
Yes, especially after all these inconveniences with technology
Oh,
that I've been having, and you've been super patient for that. I really appreciate your time and patience.
well,
So
part of
Emma,
it got in a car accident on our first scheduled time. So,
yeah, I know
it
that.
was,
How did that end up going?
they have to total my car, unfortunately. So that's going to be a whole ordeal, but it's okay. We move on and we continue with life as we just have to deal with it.
You know what that means, right? New
But
car.
that's true, and not too upset about that.
Exactly. I wouldn't be either.
Right?
So Emma, you live in Wisconsin. What city of Wisconsin, or what part of the state?
I live in Madison, so it's pretty much southern, but it's still kind of center. It's about an hour from the border. And of course, it's freezing here right now. It's like 0 degrees. Yeah.
That's, you know what? That's summer. We are minus, almost minus 40 here in Calgary.
Oh God,
So
no.
it's actually not Calgary, it's cold Gary.
Right.
And yeah, but we're we're used to it. It's just
Mhm.
1 week, so we'll get through this again.
So
So
you're in a cold front right now too, then? Because
what's
normally,
that?
is it like abnormally cold for you right now, or is it just like especially cold? Yeah, that's how it is here too. Like it was -10 the other day, but today we got up to 0, so we're having a heat wave.
So what do you guys do in Wisconsin when it's so cold?
Well, because of COVID, it's made the cold worse because normally you could go to like indoor places, do like indoor golfing, indoor like dining, indoor like activities, gatherings, all of that. And we can't do any of that right now. So it's kind of just stuck in the house trying to find things to do at home. I've taken up a lot of different crafting, and I'm also in law school. So that takes a significant amount of my time. And it's definitely difficult doing it all at home and trying to stay motivated when I have the journey from my bed to my living room, and that's about it. But yeah, normally there's a lot of things, and then there's of course like ice skating, skiing, sledding, all of those fun outdoor activities. But it's just kind of too cold to do that right now, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially with COVID, people are trying to stay home safe,
Mhm.
and trying to get too much out there to to get the virus, and that's perfectly fine. Here, what I do is just look through the window. That's
Right.
all I do, and study. That's about it.
What are you studying?
I'm doing law as well. I'm just having
Cool.
a few courses in psychology.
Oh, cool. I
So
psychology. We're like the same.
of course. So Emma, how is it that you started doing modeling so young? Like what was that thing that that drew your attention to it? How were you lured into the pageantry world?
So I was always like super outgoing, into dance, singing, performing, all of that. And one day we just got a letter in the mail inviting me to compete in a pageant. I was like, oh, We got your information. We'd love for you to compete. And I just brought it up to my mom. I'm like, please, can I please do this? This sounds really And then after the first time, I ended up placing the first time I did it. And then I was just hooked and I just kept competing. And I've gotten to where we are today. And I love it. There's so many amazing things about pageantry. So I was really thankful that my mom said yes to that first letter that we knew nothing about.
And what was that first pageant? Do you remember the name, of course?
Yeah, National American Miss. So I actually continued going back and competing, and I won a state title and was able to go to nationals and compete. And that was really my first national pageant experience. So it was a great starting place and, something I'll always remember.
That's nice. I think I've seen that pageant. Is that the pageant where many girls from different also countries participate in, or is that just the USA division?
It's the USA, so it's more of like a youth-based pageant. They have all the way to like 6 to 7-year-olds compete, and then like that's the youngest age, and then they have up to 23 or 4, I believe. So it's a lot more focused on like confidence. There's no swimsuit. It's just, or like any fitness, any kind of that thing. It's just interview, on-stage introduction, and evening gown, and then that's it. So it's more to just, their whole motto is growing confidence. And
right.
It was a really good place to start for me.
Yeah, I think those pageants are really good because sometimes people or girls, pretty much, because it's beauty pageants for women. These ones that I'm talking about, and maybe the first time you go to a pageant, be on a stage wearing a swimsuit. I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel at some point, because it's the first time, I don't know, but I would feel uncomfortable.
So what's so funny is that I've always been pretty confident in myself. And definitely the insecurity came from realizing that I was the only person that looked like I did when competing in pageants. And I, quickly saw like, okay, I am going to stand out significantly because I look nothing like these other women. But as far as being on stage in a swimsuit, I really think it's fun. And I'm not scared of it. I don't feel insecure when I'm on stage. I'm like, yes, work the swimsuit. It's really fun for me. So I feel like a lot of people think because I'm considered plus size or curvy that I don't like that area, but I actually love competing in it. I could say it's probably one of my favorites.
Girl power all the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And you know what? That's something that's an interesting topic, and I wanted to talk about that too, of course, because at some point, like, I know some people or some girls are told in some places in the world, well, you cannot compete because you don't meet the height requirements, or you don't have the perfect sizes, which I don't really know if that exists at all, because everybody's different. Right? Like, we have to go from a point that everybody's different, and pageant can only be swimsuit or evening gown or sports competition or only question and answer. It's a whole package, right? So do you have any of that in while trying to compete in pageants? Do you have that kind of negativity in a pageant?
Absolutely.
You don't have to say names.
Oh, no, for sure. I've competed in pageants where it was blatantly obvious that I didn't place or do well because of my size. It was like, my gown was great, my walk was great, my interview was great, but it didn't matter because I was immediately discounted because of my size. And it's obviously frustrating for me as somebody that really cares about pageantry and uses it as a place of empowerment, that there's still so many people in this world, in my country, that are not accepting of changing what we see as the ideal pageant title holder. Because like you said, it's so much more than just one thing. For example, like swimsuit, of course it's fun and it's a great thing to do, but how many times are title holders actually in a swimsuit during their reign? Not super frequently. You're doing appearances, you're doing community service, a lot of community service and appearances, and the ability to speak to people and connect with people actually becomes so much more important than what an ideal size is. And the second issue that I have really seen a lot more lately, and especially after competing at Miss Earth USA, is so many people were quick to attack me and call me obese and say I was extremely unhealthy, when like I take care of myself very consistently. And I think it's really funny that we as a culture and a world have just associated certain body types with health, when certain body types are not always indicative of health. My sister suffered from a very severe eating disorder, was hospitalized, and throughout her development of the eating disorder, all people saw was that she was losing weight and continued to praise her and celebrate her weight loss when she was actually dying on the inside. And I think that goes to, we're going to celebrate that because we just assume being small is healthy when it's not the case. And I don't think we put enough emphasis on the other side of things, being extremely thin and extremely restrictive in eating. That's just as, or if not more, unhealthy than being overweight. So I think these are, really important issues that are not talked about.
And you know what? That now that you talk about the size doesn't translate into healthy or unhealthy, I got it, and I want many people. I'm gonna share my story soon. I've been working on that, but when I was younger, I'm probably between 17 and 26 years old. I was extremely thin. Like I was super extremely thin to the point I thought I was sick because it was not normal for me.
Right.
And I wanted to gain weight because I didn't like the fact that I personally prefer myself being a little bit or having a little bit of weight. For some reason, I feel like people look better when they have a little bit of, flesh on the bones than more of the bones. And so I didn't understand that, or basically, when I went to the doctor, he told me, you just continue eating what you've been eating. You're not going to gain any weight anytime soon. Just gotta wait. Right. When I turned 25, I started gaining weight, right? And I wasn't on the size that I wanted. So my point here is that I was probably eating, I was not eating healthy, to be honest. I was not, and I was still thin. So to your point, that is true. Even if you look super thin, that doesn't mean that you have a healthy eating. Probably it's genetics, it's any other reason. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you feel comfortable with yourself in your own skin. Yes. So I completely agree with that. And it's a good moment to just remind the people out there watching that it's not only about, as you say, you're not going to go to appearances on TV in a swimsuit. Who does that, right? And you don't go to do charity work on a swimsuit. You basically just go like everybody does, or like everybody would do on a normal day. And you still can do the same things as anybody probably heavier or less heavy would do.
Right. Exactly. No, I completely agree. And another thing that was said was that people assumed that I would have issues like doing service work. That was something that I saw thrown around because of my weight. And I couldn't help but laugh because I was like, I exercise a lot more than, a lot of very thin people that I know. And it's just crazy that people are so easily able to say and assume what someone's health is by what they look like. And I have done lots of like exercising activities like kayaking, hiking, whatever, and been able to go far past, other friends that I'm with that are considered very thin. And it's very interesting what people assume. But thankfully, in my interview with the judges, I was able to talk about this. And one of the things that they said to me was like, I can tell based on your video, based on, what you do, that you are healthy. And that was the first time I heard that in the pageant world directed at me. And like, was able to be recognized, like, yeah, just because you don't look like them doesn't mean you're unhealthy. And that was a really awesome moment for me.
And you're a proud plus size model. Like, I think people should be more proud of what they are, right? Like, I'm a plus size too. You just probably don't see it on the camera, but I'm plus size, and some people tell me you need to lose weight. I'm like, no, because I like the way I look right now. Like, you have no idea how long I waited to be in this weight, and this is something that just came in. I honestly like my face better when I have more pounds than I should. Right now I'm overweight too, and I feel like when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, okay, I'm happy with what I look like now. And what I've seen, Emma, is that most of the overweight people, I'm not saying don't go work out, don't watch your eating habits, but I've seen more beautiful faces on the heavier side than on the light side. That's my experience and my opinion. No, not everybody has to agree with it, but that's my opinion.
Right. No, for sure. And I think what it all comes down to is people just doing what's best for them and not letting, societal standards and norms and expectations dictate what they do. If you don't want to spend every day in the gym for many hours and on a very restricted diet just to make other people happy, if it's not making you happy, you don't need to do that. And on the flip side, if you want to be doing that, do it. Like, everyone is entitled to do what they feel is best for them without fear of other people telling them that they shouldn't be doing that. There's always criticism no matter what you do. So
that's true.
The day you have to just do what's going to make you happy and what is keeping you healthy and what makes you wake up in the morning happy with yourself, because you live with yourself every day, and those people are just throwing comments at you and know nothing about your life.
Yeah, and you know what? Doing away with real body haters. I remember, because I was watching the videos of Miss Earth USA, and when I saw you looked really confident what you were doing. Like, when I saw you on the stage in swimsuit, in evening gown, which was beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
I saw someone. Yeah, I saw someone who was really confident. She was not afraid. She was not scared, because she was powerful and she was on the stage. That was her stage, and that was you. So I want to know how you felt when you had to walk out in evening gown, in swimsuit, in every single moment of Miss Earth USA.
So, having competed a lot before, going into Miss Earth, I had a completely different mindset, and it just changed like everything about competing. I went in with no intention to, place. I was competing to just feel my best and look like what I thought was my best, and just show up for me and not be showing up for anybody else. I wore the gown I wanted. I didn't ask people's opinions. I just got the gown that I wanted. I did my hair how I wanted, and it was really just powerful for myself, because in the past I've always, sat dress websites and scrolled and sent screenshots to people, and I end up wearing something I don't even like. And that has happened literally every time besides Miss Earth. And being able to, just speaking about gown, being able to work with a designer that was excited to design for somebody that was curvy, that was like on my team the whole time, that was really empowering. And then just feeling great in it just allowed me to just go on stage and just be like, I love this dress. I love how I feel in this dress. I don't care if anybody
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Who designed it? Who was the designer? Can you say the name of the designer?
Edison. He is from the Philippines, and he actually reached out to me way prior to Miss Earth, and he's like, can I design your dress? And he didn't have really a website or any other work, but I just trusted him, and it ended up like a really awesome experience. And still talk to him, and he's just a really great guy. And then for swimsuit, just, you know, not comparing myself to other people, because competing in the past, I definitely was a comparer. I would look at everyone, look at everyone's pictures, look at all the other girls, and if I would have sat there in the top 12 and just gone, oh my gosh, everybody looks so good, that would have just not translated onto stage like I've done it to myself in the past. So just really not even, like, of course there's other people and I made a lot of amazing friends, but not thinking about other people like, oh, I need to compete with them. It's just, you're on stage and you're doing yourself and only, you know, worrying about yourself, and it's just a whole different experience when you think about it that way.
Yeah, you know what? That part that you mentioned, that that everybody is unique, or that's something I tell my girls, the ones that I teach modeling, and I tell them, you will never do it as I will do it. I will never do it as you will do, and none of us will do it as anybody else, because you have your own style, and you have to embrace your style. You just have to be better than yourself the day before.
Yes.
And so on. So the competition is with yourself, to do things better every day. So if you focus on yourself, you will see the changes happening. But if you look at other people and you start comparing what you said, right? Then it's not going to be you. It's going to be a reflection of someone else, right?
Of what
so
you
it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And in pageants, I guess they're not only about how healthy your body looks, or how healthy I assume you are, but also how is your mind. So you had the question and answer part too. Actually, that's your favorite part. You're one of the few contestants that like that part.
Yes, I do. I love it. Well, the reason why it's my favorite part is, in the past, it was the part that I had to make up the points for, because I knew I was being downscored for my body in the other areas of competition. So I'm like, okay, I need to pull out and I need to do amazing in interview. So it was my opportunity to show the judges that I would be an amazing title holder, or that I am an amazing title holder, without the judgment from, you know, swimsuit or gown or whatever. If they're looking at me and saying, oh, she's so much bigger than the other girls, we could never. So interview, that's kind of part of the reason why I like it. And also because I love sharing, you know, all the things that I've done and I'm doing, and I love connecting with people. Anywhere I go, I can make friends or talk to people. And it's just something that I like to do. So being able to form connections with this panel of judges is something that I think is just a really cool opportunity. And the judges are usually really cool people and from really awesome backgrounds. So getting able to talk to people that have done that and accomplished so much is just a cool opportunity in itself, regardless of, you know, how you score in it. You got to talk to so-and-so or Miss whatever. Like, it's a cool experience.
And the message you're spreading to, and your legacy, because Emma, you're leaving a legacy to other girls. So you're basically empowering others to pursue their dreams. Probably people who have been told, you cannot do this, you won't be able to do that. Like, setting people for failure, it's unjust. It's not. It's psychological abuse, right? Like, you have to empower people. If you think you want to do this, even if you don't have the skills right now, you probably can help someone by telling them, why don't you try this first, so that you can start getting the skills, so you can get there, because you can. Like, everybody can do what they want, but they need to prepare for it, right? Physically and mentally, because you have to be ready. What if you go to a pageant and you win, but you were not ready to be in those shoes, right? So that might be a lot on your plate, and you might be like, I don't want to do this. Well, my mom wanted me to be this, but I didn't want to.
Right. And looking back, there's been plenty of times that I haven't won, or I haven't done as well as I wanted to, and been so upset and so disappointed at the time. But now, looking back at myself at those times, I'm like, wow, no, you are not ready. You should not have gotten that at that time. No. So I really think that everything happens for a reason and there's timing for everything. And turning every loss and not making it about losing, but making it about growing and what you can learn and take away from it. Especially in pageantry, like only one girl walks away with a title, but everyone has the ability to walk away with so much more. You can walk away with anger and resentment, or you can walk away with all these things that you can learn and grow from. And it's really translates to regular life. Like you're going to get rejected from jobs, you're going to get rejected from people, you're going to be told no so many times, and you really always have the option of if you're going to accept that defeat and just let it destroy you, or if you're going to say nope, I'm going to grow, I'm going to get better. And you should have said yes, or I am going to just continue to do better and continue to set new goals.
Just like I don't know if you saw the that speech from the Shauna Barber.
Yes.
Like she was rejected 6 times or 5 times. Like she lost 6 times and she kept competing until she won. Like she made it.
Yes, it's so funny. I listened to her speech right before I left for nationals. And she's an amazing speaker. But I get home from nationals and I get a notification that she followed me, posted me on her story, and I'm messaging her. I'm like, watching your speech right before nationals. This is so cool.
That's great. That's awesome. I think people should be, like you can help so many people by doing something that basically pushes people to continue and to pursue their dreams instead of hating and probably spreading a wrong message around and making people feel they cannot achieve things in life. It's better to say, you know what, probably if I see you and I feel like, okay, you need some help with, I don't know, your nails or your hair, for example, hey, you know what, I would suggest you to check this or check that, try to help. That's way more than just hating the person, saying, oh my god, I don't like your hair or your nails are horrible.
Right.
Okay, what's the point? Give me something I can work with. Give me a suggestion.
Right. And there are those people in the world, there's so many people in the world that are just going to say nasty, horrible things for no other reason than to try to bring you down. So you have to know when to just block that out and not accept that and not let that control you or your feelings or what you're doing, because there's always going to be those people. And I got a lot of that after competing, and there was about a day that I sat and read all of them very unsmartly and was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is all being said about me. And then I talked to my mom and she's like, so of course they're mad, you're not the norm, you're breaking barriers. And I'm like, you're right. And then from there I just stopped reading them.
There is a saying, that's something I heard since I was I'm originally from Venezuela, but I came to Canada many years ago. And there's something I've been hearing since I was a kid, and it's when you're doing something right, you'll get more haters.
Yes.
Than you would normally do when you're doing something wrong.
Right.
Because I think some people, they see what you do as something that is in their minds, it's blocked. And they have, for so many years, they have been told not to be able to do it. And they have believed it. And they have made it part of their lives, part of their unconscious and their conscious. And they feel like that is a truth. And it's not.
Right.
You're just setting barriers for yourself. And that's not going to help you get anywhere in life. So when you do that, those people feel offended. They feel like you're breaking their rules that they set for themselves, and they don't understand that there's no rules for that. If you have the opportunity and you want to do something, just go for it.
Right. Exactly. And I just did a keynote speaking for a project in Colorado. I just did it virtually, but that's, exactly what I said. It was for a lot of people with different disabilities and people that had experienced trauma in their lives. And I said, like, don't let what people say about you, say to you, or the things that have happened to you define your future. Like, you can do whatever you set your mind to, no matter what anybody says or has made you feel. You are going to meet those people that are going to say, oh, you're this, or you're disabled, or you've been through whatever, so you can't do it. And you just have to say, no, yes, I can, and then do it.
Exactly. Just go for it. It has to be for self-conviction more than what people think you can or cannot do. Like, that doesn't really matter too much. But Emma, when they called your name on that top 12, because Emma made it to the top 12, the Miss Earth USA, and how do you feel? Because there were so many women.
Yeah.
And hearing your name when you're so many.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of people, right?
Yes. So, okay, originally it was the top 20. So they didn't want us all on stage because it was too many people for the top 20 to be on, or to have all the contestants and then call the top 20 from there. So they had all the contestants backstage and then called the top 20 from backstage. I'm standing there hugging someone. A couple weeks, so it was okay that we were touching. But we're sitting there, we're hugging, we're closing our eyes, and then they called my name, and I look at her, and she looks at me, and we scream and start jumping up and down. And then I go out.
It's you.
Yeah, right. And I probably was the most over the top reaction. And then for top 12, it was the exact same thing, except I wasn't touching anyone. It was by myself. I'm like standing there, the hands on the hips, like. And at every point of this, I had just like had a different mindset than all the other times I've competed. All the other times that I've competed, I'm like, you absolutely have to place. Like, if you don't place, you have to. This time, I was like, everyone's deserving. Everybody's worked so hard to be here. If you don't make it, it's okay. Like, everybody has done what you've done. We've all put countless hours, money, whatever into this. So, if it's not you, it's okay. So that's what I'm sitting there telling myself in the top 20. And then my name's called, and I have a picture of my reaction. It was like, it was just so over the top. You would have thought I won the pageant when I got called for top 12. Yeah, so it was a lot. And it was just crazy because I was just so happy and so shocked. And yeah, it was really awesome.
And I bet you were very happy, and that was really cool. That was really nice. And I think, and just for people to a quick update, beauty stereotypes are changing. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not gonna be like what we have been seeing for probably 2-3 decades. Things are changing, and things are moving towards more a woman who's more self-sufficient, that she can do many other things, whatever she wants to do in life, and the rest is just part of physical, like what we see. But there's so many things, like so many things it can do, and I think pageants are now pointing more to that part, which is part of the women, right? Like, yes, it should be taken into account.
Mm-hmm. And something that I really thought about afterwards, so when people were saying like, oh, it's a beauty pageant, like we have to have standards, whatever. I'm like, okay, but one, how are they going to remain relevant then? Women are in so many high up positions. There's a woman that is now president or vice president of the United States. Like, we want to see more dimension from women. And what is pageantry if it's not a platform to just continue to empower women? Like, we need to be more inclusive for pageants to remain relevant. And that's not just plus size, that's so many other aspects of showcasing women of all different backgrounds, ethnicities, religions, abilities. Like, I think it's so important in the direction that pageantry needs to go to continue to grow.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's part of the reality. Like, they have to start looking into reality. Like, what's real people like? What's real women like? They can be thin, they can be heavy, they can be tall, they can be smaller, like
Mm-hmm.
that. There's a variety of people, and there's still women. So technically, because they're women, they can participate in beauty pageants for women. That's it. I mean, other than the age, of course, because if you're underage, you, I understand that part. I can probably
Mm-hmm.
understand that because you need to be, some kind of maturity in your head
Mm-hmm.
and be prepared for competing.
Right.
But the rest, like I know a model, I'm not gonna say her name, but she's been in my show
Mm-hmm.
before, and she was always told that she was too small.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, so if that's the part that they don't like, why don't they send you to a pageant where that is not a limitation?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? And then she started going, and I was like, you know what? Why don't you go to this one? Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
can start there. You can well, not start, but you can do this one. But I still told her you should go to other, you should try going to other pageants. Like, you shouldn't let people tell you you're not enough because of your height, because that's not going to
Right.
change how smart you can be or things you can do. If you see most Miss Universe winners, they're not super tall. Like, most of them, they're not super tall,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, when you believe a paradigm or a stereotype, you're hurting yourself.
Right. And if you just accept that that's how it is and you don't feel like you can challenge it, like that's where the road stops. And if my first pageant was Miss Earth USA, it would have not been the same. But because I went to those smaller pageants and got experience and learned things, I was able to get to the point that I wanted to get to. And I didn't change the things that made me different. I just became more refined and was able to, develop myself and my skills instead of just trying to change myself.
Did you feel at some point, Emma, that in the competition in Miss Earth USA, there was some probably contestants or comments that didn't make you feel so comfortable about, being around them?
You know what's funny is that because I am so outspoken and I talk a lot, but I'm very like upfront with people. I introduce myself to them. I'm very like just I have a lot of personality that I never, if something was said about me, I didn't hear about it. It wasn't said to my face. Um, and for the anything that was said to me was extremely positive. Girls were so happy that there was representation. Um, it was amazing. Like, I never got literally any negativity from any other contestant about what I looked like. So that was really cool because I've competed in pageants in the past where I have. And it's just a really awkward moment because you're both competing against each other and they say some either a backhanded compliment or just something straight up nasty and you're like, okay, wow,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. So I didn't have that experience. The directors are amazing. They were never, said anything about what I looked like. They were super supportive of me. They never said I needed to change myself. And they really celebrated me. There was, the top 12, it has a swimsuit competition and it's a sponsored swimsuit. So those swimsuits have to be there before. So there was a little bit concern on my part, when I first arrived. I'm like, okay, say I do make the top 12, is there going to be a swimsuit that fits me? And they made sure that there was. So it was just all around a really good experience. I felt really like they were extremely inclusive and embraced me and everything that I was.
And that speaks very well about the contestants, about the organization. It's also a good message for those who think pageants are rigged. If that was the case, probably they wouldn't consider that anyone could make it to like any of those contestants would be able to make it to the top 20, the top 12, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
So that's
they accounted for the fact that it could literally be anybody. And like I was saying, like all of these women were, when you get to that level, everybody's great. Everyone's worked super hard. It can be anybody. And so it definitely is not a rigged situation. It's how you perform.
exactly.
And you know what's
Yeah.
actually really funny is that there's press and media following you around at the beginning of the week. and no one was following me. You know who they consider like the top contenders by based on like who they're following around and taking pictures of and taking media of and interviewing. And then immediately after prelims, I got a bunch of people coming and talking to me and taking pictures and stuff. And it's funny because people do assume that like based on all of that, like, oh, it is going to be rigged, like, oh, they're giving special attention to these certain people. But no, that's just the media people guessing, and it has nothing
Exactly.
to do with the judging or what is done on stage. Like, you can be a guest to be in last place, but if you get on stage and you do amazing and you interview amazing, you can win.
And that happens all the time. Like sometimes you see that the press just starts saying, and this is going to be the winner, these are the favorites, and sometimes they don't make it to the finals, right?
Right.
And you're like, wow, but you never know, because again, it's a whole package. So you don't know, probably this competitor didn't do very well at this, or maybe at the interview, or something else happened. Like, people don't know, right? Like, it's not just because you have these characteristics then you're supposed to be in. There's so much more than meets the eye. I mean, it can change at the last moment.
Right. And I think as far as interview, people really underestimate the impact that interview has. Like, there's sometimes where you see a girl on stage and you think, oh my gosh, she should definitely be in the top 5, or she should have won. She looked amazing on stage, but she could have just bombed the interview, and that happens. And that's where like some people come out with like the confusion or like the saying it's rigged, but there's a huge portion that people don't see, and that's the interview portion. And if someone doesn't do well in interview, they might not do well overall in the pageant.
Exactly. And I think I was looking, and the winner, Miss Earth USA, I think she had competed in Miss World previously.
Yeah, she
did. I think she went to Miss World.
Yeah, she was.
And I was like, well, yeah.
And she'd also.
And I was like, wow.
USA. Yeah.
So she has a lot of experience in pageantry. Like, usually those girls, they do way better because they know more. Like, they've been there longer, right?
Right. And
so
like,
it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, and she's a really great person. I've talked to her many times. Her and I were able to talk a lot at nationals, and she's going to represent the USA amazingly at Miss Earth. Like, I am so proud of her and so confident in her abilities in every aspect. And I know she is extremely passionate about her platform and her advocacy, and is going to she's going to do great. And I'm really excited to see everything that she does.
There might be back-to-back. Who knows?
I'm biased. I say yes, but
no, but you know what? I am not, and I think there could be, because she's really pretty, and she's got a lot of experience in pageants. Lindsay did a really good job in Miss Earth. So I think the winner is Samantha, right? Samantha?
Marissa.
Yeah. Marissa. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I personally believe there could be a back-to-back.
Well, and saying that from the outside, like, she's beautiful, she's really great at walking, she's very composed, but then coming from, like, I know her, and she's so nice, it just, like, makes the whole package. Like, she looks the part, but then she's also just a really good person, and I think that's what it takes to win. That's
why you cannot be a judge, Emma. Because you know her very well.
It's okay. I'll judge something else. I just judged pageant the other day virtually, which was, I have a whole new appreciation because all of our interviews are virtual, and it was so many more for our judges to interview us than the judge. Like, I only had like 20 contestants I needed to interview, and doing it on Zoom is so hard and such a process. So I have a whole new appreciation for what they had to do to judge us.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense that the judges cannot meet or know the contestants because it would be unfair to, like, they're usually, and when it's beauty queens, they cannot judge the same year or next year. They I think they judge in like 2 years. So there is a gap that they don't know the contestants and they're more objective. It makes sense. It makes it fair. It makes a fair competition. Now, Emma, are you envisioning going to any other pageants? I think you should.
Yes.
Can you say or not?
I'm going to announce it in the next couple weeks, but I'll message you. I'll message you.
Please, yes. I would love to see you in another pageant.
Yeah, no, for sure. You're going to definitely see me compete more. Don't worry. But
Yeah, I think you should keep trying, and many other systems, because I understand every pageant is different. Like every pageant has a specific purpose. Like I know Miss World is more like humanitarian, Miss Earth is conservationist, Miss Universe I cannot still tell what is the purpose. I understand it's probably more commercial and charity work, like both.
Yeah.
And so on, right? Like you have so many other pageants that you can try and that you should try.
For sure.
So yeah, I hope to see you there. Now, Emma, to finish the program, the interview, I would like you to give a message to the girls, those girls who have been told you can't do this, you can't do that, and not only for the girls. This is a message for everyone, right? Who have been told they cannot do something, that they're not capable of achieving things in life. What's your message to them?
My message is that I have been told no all of my life by so many people in my life. And every time I am told no, I take it as a chance to prove them wrong. And you truly can do anything you set your mind to. And do not let those people that tell you no or that you cannot dictate what you are going to do. Because as cliche as it sounds, you can do it. All it takes is your drive to do it and not letting what other people say affect you.
That is completely true. I support you. I'm living proof of that as well. I think we're on the same boat as well as many people out there. And I think we need to, just start trying. Start trying what you want to achieve. Just go for it. It only takes yourself to trust in yourself or trust you can do it so that it can be done.
Exactly.
And that's going to open so many other doors in your life. So people keep trying. Emma, thank you very much. I appreciate your time today. It was wonderful talking to you, meeting you. I hope it's not the last time. I have to do more interviews when you go to other pageants. Okay.
Yes, I love talking to you. I'm so glad we were able to make it happen. And I'm so thankful that you gave me the opportunity to talk about everything. It was super fun.
I'm honored to have you in my show. I think I would like to have more people like you in my show, giving great messages, positive messages to other people and helping. I think that's the most beautiful thing in the world. And thank you very much. I hope to see you in more pageants soon, Emma.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Emma Loney, Miss Earth Wisconsin, USA. And this is Backstage with Angelo. Remember, if you want to keep seeing more of these videos, you just need to click subscribe and also click the bell so you can get more notifications. Thank you very much for seeing us today and see you in the next episode. Bye.